Now we will discuss strategy-based instruction. Much of the work of researchers and teachers on the application of both learning and communication strategies to classroom learning has come to be known as strategies-based instruction, or as learner strategy training. Strategy-based instruction is a learner-centered approach and is basically based on two major components. One is that the learners are explicitly taught why, how, and when the strategies can be used. And the second important component is the integration of strategies in everyday life. Wanden was the first one to assert or to propose this idea of strategy-based instruction, based on the fact that this kind of approach basically facilitates the autonomous learning. Then we also have other views later on that believe that it's not just simply the facilitation process, but also explicitly informing the students in terms of why and how these strategies can be used. Their explicit instructions are equally important as far as the integration of strategies-based instruction is important. McIntyre believes that if we want strategy-based instructions to be effective for learner, then it is important that learners should see it from a positive point of view. He should understand the strategy. Number two, he should perceive it to be effective and also should not see any problem as far as its implementation is concerned. Now, there are certain considerations to be made on the part of the teachers in order to successfully implement strategy-based instruction. That is to identify learners' styles. It's important to ensure that it is done for the communication purposes, and also it should, if it is not properly understood on the part of the students, then some assistance outside the classroom should also be made available to the learners. Let's discuss some of the points related to strategy-based instructions. Now, as mentioned, Wanden was the first one to assert that learner strategies are the key to learner autonomy, and that one of the most important goals of language teaching should be facilitation of that autonomy. We also have Chimot, who believes that explicit instruction is far more effective than simply asking students to use one or more strategies. Second point indicates that teachers can benefit from an understanding of what makes learners successful and unsuccessful, and establish in the classroom a social environment for the realization of successful strategies. Teachers cannot always expect instant success in their effort, since students often bring with them certain preconceived notions of what ought to happen in a classroom, and that's what Bialystok believes. Now, however, it has been found that students will benefit from strategy-based instruction, which is SBI, if they understand the strategy, perceive it to be effective, and do not consider its implementation to be overly difficult. Therefore, our efforts to teach students some technical know-how about how to tackle a language were well advised. The effective implementation of SBI in language classrooms involve several steps and considerations involving of the learners' styles and potential strategies, how to incorporate SBI in communicative language courses and classrooms, and the element of extra assistance for learners. Teacher beliefs is one of the vital factors on the effectiveness of learning strategies instruction. Teachers should believe that students, especially low achieving ones, can be successful if they can acquire appropriate strategies, since strategies are not innate and they can be taught. Teachers should also have confidence that the individual strategies are effective and that they must communicate this confidence to students. So the success of strategy-based instructions relies heavily on how teachers and learners perceive it. A great number of studies on teacher education, as the point 5 says, have mentioned that teachers' belief and attitudes are indispensable, affecting their decision making and teaching practice. Especially William and Burden believes in that. In addition, we have Richards and Lockhart who suggest that teachers' knowledge and beliefs provide the underlying framework or scheme which guides teachers' classroom actions. According to Freeman and Johnson, teachers are not empty vessels waiting to be filled with theoretical and pedagogical skills. They are individuals who enter teaching education programs with prior experience, personal values, and beliefs that basically inform their knowledge about teaching and shape what they do in their classroom. To conclude, strategies-based instruction is increasingly successful when teachers help learners not only to become aware of their learning styles and preferences, but also to take actions on the basis of that awareness.